Hello there, welcome back to the channel. I'm Stuart Robinson, a broadcaster from Northern Ireland. Today I'm taking you for a walk in the woods, actually pretty much out my back door. This place isn't too far from where I live, and as is always the case with these kind of places for locals, they very rarely come here. It's a little hidden gem walk in the woods. This is the Scrabo Country Park, but not just does it have these great trails that go through over 100 acres of woodland down here in County Down, but when we get up to the peak very shortly, I'm going to show you an 1800s built tower, which today still stands fully maintained and is a bit of a beacon over much of County Down. Actually, when we get to the very top from up there, I believe is one of the best panoramic views probably anywhere in County Down. On a good day, you'll see as far across to Scotland and maybe even the Isle of Man as well. I'll tell you a little bit about what we see as we go as well. And of course, don't forget, for more content like this from across Northern Ireland and even further afield, like, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss another video from me again. For now, let's go and explore Scrabo Country Park. Well, just here at the entry of the country park is some information. It talks about the circular walks that lead through the woods here. It talks about some of the trees that are over 100 years old here. But judging by this old area code and how dirty this sign is, it's at least 25 years. Some of these trees are probably closer to 150 years old now. That hasn't been the dialing code for Newtonards since way back in the late 90s. So that could do with a bit of a cleaning and a sprucing up. So we'll head this way down the walkway. Some more information here. It says cliffs and drops, steep and slippery banks. I would expect all that. Beware of traffic in here. Right, well, that'll be interesting. Well, it's certainly not the sort of place you'd want to come too close to dusk. Dracula Untold, the 2004 movie, was actually filmed in these woods, and it's easy to see why this would have been an ideal filming location for that movie. There's 180 acres of woodland and pathways to explore through here. And I say pathways very loosely. At very best, it's going to be these really quite difficult, slippery trails to get your way through. Don't expect any actual proper paths. I'm not even going to try to get through there because it looks like it's pretty overgrown enough that probably no one else has been through there for a while. And at very least, I'll end up with nettles and thorns all over me, or at worst, I'm going to have a fall and spend the night in here. So the alternative is going to be back up this way. There's a lot of rocks in here as well, of course. The Scrabo Hill, formerly a volcanic plug, so you'll still see a lot of these huge boulders and rocks in here as well. And of course, to this day, there are numerous quarries around the immediate area. Well, this wasn't exactly the leisurable walk I had in mind, but I'm kind of halfway up here now, so past the point of no return maybe. Yeah, this wasn't my best idea, but we'll continue. Right, please let this be a path that goes somewhere, because I ain't going back down there again. So it's going to be mainly beech and hazelwoods you're going to find in here. It makes it a perfect breeding ground across the year for all kinds of bird life, like falcons, ravens, even kestrels as well. I would not recommend some of these steeper paths with kids or even family, to be completely honest with you. Actually, I don't even know how I managed to get up there because I struggle most mornings to get out of bed, so that was it. These paths look a little bit more beaten through down this way, so hopefully we'll be on the right track. I don't need to sit down. Thankfully, this probably wouldn't be a great option. You can see bits of this have begun to rot away. There's nettles and different bits growing up through it as well. That's like a sort of classic 60s, 70s Northern Ireland park bench. And the whole time I've been through this woodland, I have not seen or passed by one other person. So yeah, maybe not ideal on yourself if you get into difficulty in here, and the chances of someone finding you at the bottom of one of those little hills, not great. I see they do have some sort of more in the way of man-made steps forged into the hillside here. Well, I've just emerged out of the Killynether Wood. Never Thought I would get out of there, but we made it. Be careful if you're in there, by the way. It is a bit dodgy in some parts. I did see a few dog walkers going in, so I imagine for regulars and those dog walkers, it is just a bit of a walk in the park for them. But if you don't know where you're going, and certainly as it gets dark in there, you'd want to be careful. So yeah, it brings you back out in this car park. I'll just spin the camera so you can see there's plenty of parking spots here. Now I know on a good day there's an ice cream man that sometimes parks there, but today's maybe just not that day. But there's plenty of spaces. I'm parked way down the bottom. You can see this car park is on a bit of a slope. The wood side and the country park side is in here, and where we're going next up to the peak is over on this side, up a separate path, and that is a much better path in terms of the ground, but it is steeper. That's the one thing to let you know about. And just to say, over here there are some facilities as well. Oh, do I want to go in these? Oh, should we go in? Because I know what public toilets are like in Northern Ireland. There's a defib there, which is good. There's a ladies here, and if you're a gent, toilet's closed until further notice. Do not open the door. Well, that's just wonderful. So I don't know how that works. Can the gents use the... No, that's locked. So, ladies, you're okay. Men, apparently not. That's a bit strange. These toilets are open every day up until 4 o'clock, when presumably the council come by and lock them up. Well, lock that one up, because that one, maybe a bit like the tower that I'm going to show you up here, hasn't been open in a very long time. Right, so next we'll go through here. Just be careful on this road. It is an active roadway still. It's a low country road that runs up there to Scrabo Golf Club, just at the top of this hill. And then you're going to cut across here, and you're going to go up this laneway up to the peak. Oh, by the way, and it says the golf club up here welcomes all visitors, and there's a restaurant and a bar and even a golf shop up here as well. Right, off to the peak. I think when we get up here, we're going to be about 600 metres above Strangford Lough, and that's when you're going to see these beautiful panoramic views of a lot of County Down today. Maybe even we'll be able to pick out a few places further afield, perhaps even the Isle of Man, the coast of England, and maybe even some of Scotland when we get going up here too. There's this little lovely memorial bench for Helen and Rachel here, who did so much during their life. It says, in the prevention of the cruelty to animals. Over here you've got a picnic site, so it's just down these steps. You can see some picnic tables and this little bit of greenery they've got fenced in here, which would be quite nice on a lovely day. And then some more information about Scrabo and the kind of wildlife and flowers that you can see from here, and also the islands that you can see in Strangford Lough from this vantage point out there. It tells you what they are: Chapel Island, Ray Island, Island Hill, and then we're about 3 miles away from the town of Cumber at this point too. Just a correction, by the way, I said 100, I said 500 metres, it's 160 metres, it's about 500 odd feet above Strangford Lough once we get up here. And it says that the name Scrabo came from the old Irish word scrabic, meaning scraggy. Right, now we know. It's getting steep. I'll compose myself when I get to the top, so I'm not spending the remainder of the video heavy breathing at you. Nobody tuned in for that, or maybe you did. Each to their own. Well, I'm walking up the steps of Scrabo Tower right now, but we're closed. And we're not just closed today, we've been closed for over 10 years here. Electrical difficulties, they said, in 2014 made the tower unsafe for the public, so it's been closed since then. Now, many years before that, this was actually home for people. Back in the upwards of 100 years ago, there was a family actually lived in here, probably had a bit of money about them, as you might expect. But in more recent times, it was available for the public to climb the 122 steps to the very top for these incredible vantage points across County Antrim and County Down right below. But unfortunately, because of, well, probably Northern Ireland classic bureaucracy and things moving at a snail's pace, this has been a no-go for over a decade now, which is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. you're looking at 170 years right here of Northern Ireland history standing tall. Scrabo Tower was built in 1857, and it was to commemorate a man called Charles William Stewart, who died 3 years earlier, of Londonderry. He was a local landowner and a notable military man who fought in over 25 major battles as a lieutenant colonel of the Light Dragoons. And so much so was the respect of the local townspeople, they all clubbed together to make Scrabo Tower a reality. It wasn't just Charles William Stewart's distinguished military career that had this built in his honour, but it was also what he did to combat and support local people during the potato famine of the late 19th century that got him this. Now, at the time, they clubbed together looking to spend £2,000, yeah, £2,000 to construct Scrabo Tower. In the end, it went a little bit over. It took £3,000 to build this huge tower. Now, yeah, you're thinking £3,000 isn't a lot, but by today's standards and accounted for inflation over the past 170 odd years, that means today this tower would cost about 550,000, no change out of $500,000, maybe even 600 grand. So facing northwards to start over the hills of County Down, which are immediately just here, then you're going to be into County Antrim across Belfast Lough, which will separate the foremost hills you can see along with the hills in the distance. So you're looking up towards sort of Carrickfergus and then up north into County Antrim from there. This is the town of Newtownards, which, as you can see, and as I mentioned, obviously much more built up. The nearby Westwind estate has this incredible Scrabo Tower as its looming backdrop, and then you're down into the rest of the town. About 30,000 people call this town home, and it's about 10 miles outside Belfast, so it is fairly convenient for sort of all major transport links, although Newtownards does not have a train, but there is a road that runs pretty much directly into Belfast, the Newtownards Road, for those who are not aware. And then we'll look out this way. Well, this is out towards Strangford Lough, so arguably the most picturesque of the views, and this is going to sort of look out towards the Irish Sea and the Ards Peninsula down this way, the whole way down. You'll see some of these little islands, hundreds of little islands out in Strangford Lough in the distance, and then just way beyond that, I did say maybe on a good day you might just see the outline of some places, and whether, I think it's probably going to be Scotland. You can see as far as the eye can see, and I'm just not sure if the camera's picking it up, but you can sort of see the coast of Scotland just about in the distance. On a clearer day, the visibility is much better. You'll definitely see that. And then you can see just an old airfield. When I say an old airfield, the Red Arrows were here actually just the other day, and this is still an active airfield to this day for small aircraft, not for commercial use, but a lot of training exercises go on here, and also some military as well. Just a little bit further over to the side, you can see a bit more of Strangford Lough, looking out towards, again, the Ards Peninsula, the Irish Sea, and even out the Isle of Man further out there. And then around this way, you're going to be looking down towards County Down. And I believe maybe just up here, if I walk up here a little bit, we'll even get to see maybe the Mourne Mountains, if the visibility is good, probably in the distance. This side's getting a hell of a lot more wind, so I'll keep the conversation short. But yeah, you can see the outline of the Mourne Mountains just there in the distance. At the bottom of County Down, so that's basically the full length of the county. You can see right there from where we are. And then up here, again, I'm not sure how clear that is, but sort of the buildings and the stuff you can see in the distance, that's Belfast and Black Mountain. I actually have a visit, a video on this channel of my visit up onto Black Mountain you can check out as well. Now, we know we're 160 metres up here, over 500 feet. I don't know if the drops are that dramatic. I certainly wouldn't be going down here. In fact, it's all overgrown, so no one does go down here. You can see this area looks a little bit more hilly. Over here looks like it comes more off the cliff side, so I would just avoid going too close at all costs. There is no fence up here either. Some of these sort of observation places will have a fence to tell you that you can't go any further. That doesn't seem to be the case up here, so just keep that in mind. And if you're with kids, do not get too close to those edges, because you can't actually tell what's on the other side. Now, of course, today the Department of the Environment look after the Country Park and Scrabo Tower here in County Down. Back in the day though, and as recently as 1960, this tower was still owned by the descendants of a Mr. William McKay. Now, he was the owner, and back when he had this, he lived in it. Him and his wife brought up 8 children living here in Scrabo Tower. Incredible, a true life Rapunzel story right here in Newtonards. Now, the walk from the car park up to the actual tower is only about 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you're as out of shape as me. It is quite steep though. I'm enjoying the walk down, I must say, a lot better than up. I now understand why there's a defib at the toilet at the bottom of this hill. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining me on this dander through Scrabo Country Park and also up to Scrabo Tower as well. There's just some breathtaking views and a lot of history to take in up here. It certainly would be recommended for dog walking, for maybe picnics. Do keep an eye on the kids. Be careful over in the country park. As you saw, there's a lot of steep drops, and even up here too at the tower as well. Just have your wits about you if you are bringing younger children with you. But it is a little hidden gem, right, I think, on the doorstep of many people who particularly live around the Belfast area. But you can also see why people from much further afield would come up here for a few hours just to take in this stunning scenery of the County Down landscape. Now, if you like videos like this, I've got a lot more little walking tours, certainly days out with the family from across Northern Ireland on this channel. If you would please like, subscribe and hit the little alarm bell so you never miss another video again. That'll do us for now. I need a big glass of something very icy cool that way, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.